Hi everyone, it's about 2 minutes before 6 o'clock right now on this Monday, March 11th, 2013. I'm Stephen Boyle. Good morning, everybody. I am Stephen Boyle, student forecaster for New England weather. Well, we do have a pretty intense band of heavy rain, even some embedded thunder with it. Don't expect a lot of thunder with as here in the Northeast, but it will be there will be some very heavy rain that will be impacting the region. But before we get to that and show you the radar, we do have some dense fog advisories for southern portions of Jersey and also portions of the Delmarva Peninsula, or Delaware, I mean. We also have some coastal flood advisories in place for some regions because of the continuing effects of the storm that just passed. There is also a special weather statement for portions of New England because of the fact that because of some near freezing conditions and some of the melt and snow that we're seeing. There could be some areas of black ice this morning. Also, there is some hazardous weather outlook. There is a hazardous weather outlook in place for the potential of some um, uh, flooding later tomorrow through Wednesday. As of course, there's going to be a system that's going to be entering in. Before we take a check on the radar imagery, let's look at the final snowfall totals from our major snowstorm that we saw here in New England and also into portions of the northern mid-Atlantic as well. Um, Major amounts. I mean, there was 29.8 inches reported in Milton, Mass, or on top of the Blue Hills Observatory. Uh, you can see that there was a little bit of shadowing going on into the Connecticut River Valley with this particular storm. Um, it was a little bit more intense with this system, a little bit more defined. However, you go just a few miles to the east, literally, maybe even only a mile to the east, or even a mile to the west, and you started getting some fairly heavy amounts. So this was very location dependent. Notice 11 inches in Ludlow, Mass. 8 inches in Wilbraham, and 11.5 inches reported in East Longmeadow, Mass. But notice 18 and 20 inches reported in eastern portions of Hampden County. Also, some fairly hefty amounts reported near Manchester, Connecticut, and into portions of northeast Connecticut. The Berkshires did see a little bit more, especially the eastern slopes, but not as much as folks back out east where we had over 18 inches of snow. And with locally, like I said, some areas over 20 inches. You can also see Rhode Island got a little bit shafted with this storm. It's not clear the reason why they got shafted. It could have been a couple reasons. It may have been the onshore flow and that came from the storm. That's one potential. Second potential is from shadowing, but shadowing probably not the case in Rhode Island, more because of the winds that were coming into Rhode Island. But really, there was a major dry slot here as well into Rhode Island, so that's the reason, part of the reason why they didn't see as much. But once you went north, really, of Providence, you started to get into some good amounts, so close to a foot of snow into some areas. But for the most part, that is over with. Now we are looking at this particular system, and this did cause some snow into portions of Wisconsin and Minnesota. This will cause some flooding issues this will definitely be causing some flooding issues. Notice these very heavy rains that are moving through Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio. These will continue to work its way to the east and eventually impact Pennsylvania later on this evening. And behind this system, there is some very cold air behind it, more winter-like weather. Not the coldest of the Arctic air, but nighttime lows could get very chilly. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so let's look at some of the models this morning. Let's start off with the NAM. Um, we'll go to the east, actually. Let's go back here. Let's look at the northeast in particular. Alright, so we're going to look at this here. Let's look at this here. So, first of all, here is our storm system moving through. You can see uh, we have a low pressure system that is cutting through the Great Lakes. This is causing a front to form. There is a warm front here. So basically, we are getting a warm flow coming in off of the Gulf of Mexico. And basically, this is creating some very warm weather for areas of the Northeast. And you can see these bands of rain that are forming here. This is a little bit later on today. As we move our way onward, you can see these rains eventually work their way into New England. You can see some areas of locally very heavy rain. And as you can see, that we eventually get a more northwesterly flow coming in here. You can see winds coming in from the northwest to southeast. Therefore, we have some very cold air coming in and working itself in here. This will definitely create a favorable pattern, more of a negative tilted pattern as far as the NAO goes. The NAO will go back negative as we move along. All right, let's look at some of the temperatures here. These are, of course, temperatures, and you can see this morning temperatures generally into the 30s overall, and you can see some areas going into the 20s as well, near freezing across much of the New England area. You can see where these heavy rains are going to be impacting. You can see temperatures into the 40s and 50s this morning. You can see where clouds are starting to work their way in here. These are where the clouds are coming in. Cool, but not that cool. We have temperatures starting off into the mid to upper 30s. Alright, so as we move along inward, as we move along here, you can sort of see as we work our way into the height of the afternoon, temperatures according to the NAM reaching into the 40s and 50s. And you can see overnight lows tomorrow or tonight going down into the 30s, and then tomorrow's highs, as of course we see these rains coming in here. You can see yet again we're getting into some 40s and 50s here, but again that's because we have a lot of cloud cover. But notice we have 40s back out into the back out behind the front, and these again are highs, so fairly chilly stuff here behind this front. So we work our way, and you can see there comes in the colder air, and you can see at best daytime highs may be getting into the mid to upper 30s, with some of our cooler locations maybe only reaching into the 20s. So not that warm, definitely behind this front. Okay, so of course that is the NAM. Let's look at the GFS now, or no, let's look at the Canadian. Let's look at the east. All right, well, let's look at precip first. All right, so of course you can see here is that frontal system that's working its way through on in, and you can see we do have an area of high pressure right here, and this is sort of creating a flow, of course, and you have some very warm air coming in here ahead of this front. You can see we do have a very strong line of rains and storms here. Those will continue to work its way to the east, as of course is being indicated by most models. You can see that eventually works its way into the northeast, and you can see again just to give you a little bit of a lesson here, high pressures have a clockwise flow, low pressures have a counterclockwise flow. So therefore, behind this little low pressure system, you're going to be getting some cooler air being forced its way in. And of course, you can see yet again there's those rains starting to work its way into New England, because again, behind fronts you always get colder air. I think everybody knows that. All right, so there you go. There is that precip. There could be a little bit of a short wave that works its way through New England this Sunday, maybe given some areas some snow or a little bit of rain. We'll have to sort of keep our eyes on that, and you can sort of see there is this area of high pressure, but that is being suppressed. There is not much of an influence from this area of high pressure. Some people will say, oh, there's the southeastern ridge. But there's more of an influence coming in from Canada than there is from this area of high pressure down here. This is really only affecting people in Florida and maybe into the southeast, but into the northeast, well, we're being affected more by this massive blocking that's going on up into the into Canada. So basically, that is the situation as far as that goes. Let's look at 2 meter. Let's look at the surface temperatures. Excuse me. As of course, this will give us a good understanding of you know of where our frontal systems will be going. You can see these are our highs today. You can see temperatures anywhere between 40 and 50 degrees. Some localized areas may be seeing close to 55. You can definitely pick out though where this front is. You can see it's right in here. You can see areas behind this front only getting into the 20s and 30s. So can definitely tell that there is some very cold air. And then of course there is the front by tomorrow. Or by Wednesday, I'm sorry, and you can see there is some of those very warm conditions, and then of course there comes in the colder air, and it really sticks around. Temperatures at best get into 40 degrees for highs here, so, and you can see maybe a little bit of a brief impulse on Saturday of maybe close to 45-degree weather, but for the most part, Mother Nature is basically going to say no to the warm weather. Alright, taking a check now on the GFS. Let's look at the GFS here. Let's look at let's just make sure there's no northeast. No. Alright, so let's look at the eastern United States. Let's first look at this, the precipitation. And yet again, here is our frontal system. That will be eventually working its way through. Alright, and behind it, giving us some colder weather. There we go. I think we don't want the 6Z run. Let's just do the 0Z for now. Yeah. So here we go. Let's just look at this instead. This will be better. And interestingly, here is our storm that affected the Northeast the other day. That will continue to pull itself away and affect nobody. There is the rains ahead of the frontal system that will continue to work its way out, and here we go. There's a little bit of a feature that moves through, maybe trying to affect parts of the Northeast here with a little bit of rain or snow, and basically there is our low pressure system that we will be watching as we get closer in to the as we get kind of closer into this period of time. This area of low pressure is going to definitely need to be watched, as there could be some significant impacts from it. Temperatures. Let's just look at some temperatures here. Let's see. Hold on a minute. Maybe we can find. I want to just try to see if I can find something for you guys. Yeah, let's look at this here. Alright, so let's look at snowfall here. Let's just look at snowfall, and this only goes out 192 hours, but that's okay. There could be a brief burst of light snow sometime around Friday. Oh, this is a 6Z run again. We don't want the 6Z run. We want the 0Z. Sorry about that. Alright. Snowfall. We'll first look at 6-hourly snowfall, and then we'll look at total snowfall. Alright, so here is a little brief burst of snow that we could be seeing this upcoming weekend. Around Sunday. We'll have to kind of keep our eyes peeled on that. And for the most part, though, nothing very major. But that's the GFS. Okay, now let's look at. There's a possibility maybe we can look at the ensembles, but unfortunately I don't see them. Let's see. These are deterministic. Maybe these, I don't know. Snowfall accumulations. Alright, let's just look at this. This is a 6Z again, but again, for the most part, I don't think we're going to be looking at a lot of snow between now and over the next several days. The first shot of snow will probably be coming in on the weekend, but before then, I don't think we have a big shot of any snow here. Let's look at the Euro. Let's look at the Euro, because this is definitely interesting. Okay, now this is going to be winds and surface lows and highs. Now, so there's our front. Okay, there's our front. That moves through. Okay, there is that little short wave. Okay, that comes through this weekend. Okay, may affect some areas with some good snows. But the interesting thing doesn't come until we have this. We have really a little area, a little phase here. We have this slope here, and there's a piece of energy here, and these eventually phase once this storm comes off of the North Carolina coastline. And let's just show you. This is our 216 of the Euro. Major. Literally, this would be a major bomb for people who would live anywhere from North Carolina up to Maine. This is a serious low pressure. 971 millibars is major. Okay. Now, for those of you who are a little bit skeptical, let's just look at the 12Z Euro. Let's just, for ha-has, let's look at the 12Z Euro. What the heck was the 12Z Euro showing? Was it showing a major storm? Yes, it was. There is our 980 millibar snowstorm. This would be a snowstorm for some people, particularly for people who live into these regions. Okay, some of the same areas that were impacted with very heavy snow with our last system, but particularly all eyes would be geared towards New England and southern New England, particularly interior portions away from the coast. This would be for people who live basically away from the Maine, New Hampshire, right through Massachusetts, down through northern New Jersey, down and through portions of Pennsylvania, away from Washington, D.C., into the mountains of Virginia and West Virginia. Just to give you an idea, Worcester, Massachusetts has picked up 101 inches of snow this year. A lot of snow. So basically, that is this 12Z Euro. Looking at the 0Z Euro, it's even more intense. Okay, there is our low pressure that continues to work its way northeast, but just look at this. I mean, it's major. Okay, and if the Euro continues to show this, because what happened with the Euro with our major February blizzard was it was the only model for days on end for a good 10 days that was consistently showing a major blizzard. This is starting to come along with that similar sense here. Okay, 2 model runs in a row of showing a major storm. If it continues to do so, we could be talking about a very extensive situation for people who live in the Northeast. Let's just look at, if we can, maybe we can look at the Euro ensembles, and just notice here is the general pattern. All right, and you can see for the most part the pattern does support the upper level low pattern, or the upper level pattern, especially when we get this storm across the east. Notice how we have a very favorable pattern, pretty much a nice trough in the east. This is very very important to look at as far as the pattern goes, and as far as this upcoming storm. Now, I do want to show you guys something. All right, let's go to the northeast. Actually, that's too far north. Let's go here. All right, so let's look at total snowfall. Okay, let's just look at total snowfall. And this is from the 0Z Euro. Okay, This will give you guys a very good understanding of what is to come potentially. Yeah, this is a pretty major snowstorm. Alright, it even shows some snow going back down into these areas of the mountains of North Carolina. But for the most part, North Carolina and Virginia are spared. Now again, the part that I'm probably not gonna buy is people here in Washington D.C. getting snow, and people in southern New Jersey getting any snow, and also along the areas of Long Island, um, and even southeastern Mass. I'm not totally buying. But other than that, this is definitely fair game for these folks getting major amounts of snow. This shows many areas picking up at least a good 10 to 12 inches of snow, if not 14, 16, 18, or even close to 20 inches. Add that on to the snow that we've seen up to this particular point, and yeah, we have a pretty intense year so far. So basically, Mother Nature, according to the Euro, is saying no, we are not over with the snowfall yet. Now, I'm wondering, I'm going to go to the 12Z. Let's look at the total snowfall from the 12Z. Let's go to hour 240, if we can. And notice that this was just when everything was starting up, but notice how you have a lot of snow, so even still, into many regions. But again, that has changed. That has gotten even more intense, as of course we have we've been the new 0Z Euro came out. All right, let's look at this. Maybe this will be up. Okay, good. All right, so this is the Euro ensembles. Okay, now these are the Euro ensembles, and this will sort of give you a good understanding. Yeah, the Euro ensembles didn't show much, but still a major storm for a lot of people, especially in interior portions. But again, I still strongly believe that if you live in New England, northward, or if you live anywhere north of New York City, I think you're in good game for a major storm. Let's look at hour 240, and just look at this. I mean, literally 3 to 4 inches of precipitation. So I hope you're all ready for potentially another storm. Let's look at the 6-hour precip from the new Euro, or from the 0Z Euro ensembles. And there it comes. I mean, there comes our major storm. I mean, you can definitely see. And again, do I think that this will be that we will be seeing major amounts of snow across the Northeast? Absolutely. I think, especially if you live in New England, I think you're in fair game for a major snowstorm. So we'll have to sort of keep our eyes on that, and sort of definitely look at how things will be running here. But I think there is a definite possibility that some people will be talking about a pretty big monster here coming up within about a week or so. So for the most part, that's what I wanted to show you guys. Let's look at the temperatures here from the regular Euro, the Euro operational model. So let's look at the 2-meter temperature. So for the most part, okay, notice how these are our maximum temperatures here, and notice how after that front moves through, basically our maximum temperatures at best will be getting into the lower 40s. All right, that's pretty major. Okay, now we do have a little bit of a warm impulse around hour 144, but for the most part, I mean, just look at this. I mean, for the most part, and when this storm is coming in, yeah, at best we're going to be getting into the lower 30s. So this is definitely something that we really need to keep our eyes on, because if we have enough Arctic air to support this upcoming major storm, we could be talking about severe amounts of snow and severe winds, and yet again some more coastal flooding for people who really don't need it. But again, it's still 10 days out. But again, the reason why I'm taking this so strongly is it's the Euro. The Euro has been a very good model up to this particular point with some of our biggest storms that we've seen. The February blizzard, Sandy, the last snowstorm that we saw just last week. I mean, it's definitely hands down one of the best models to look at as far as you know as far as weather goes. So we're gonna take. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back with another update later on tomorrow. Take care, everyone.